Hello, welcome pen friends. Let's talk about writing today. Let's talk about specifically how writing has kind of changed and evolved over the past month during this the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders. Here in Texas, it's called stay-home order. It's not called the lockdown. And so far, nobody in my family has been truly quarantined, but we have only made essential trips. But there's been shifts and changes in my writing, and I just wanted to come and talk about that and see if maybe there were some common threads. So always my writing is primarily pen pal letters, journaling, and taking notes. And so I've been doing all of those things, but I've noticed that I've kind of focused on two of my journals. And as most of you know, I have quite a few journals that I write in, so it has surprised me that I've narrowed into just two of them mostly, and I'll talk about those. They're right here. My bullet journal and my Commonplace journal, or notebook, my Commonplace book, whatever you want to call it. I did a separate video on that quite a while back. But, well, let's start with the two journals. So let's start by just talking about the two that I'm in the most, which it didn't surprise me that my bullet journal is one of them. In fact, right now, that's so important to me just to know what day it is and to know, you know, to have a little bit of structure, to not forget things, although there's... At the same time, you'd think there'd be less going on. There's actually more going on for me in some cases. So I've really used it pretty much the same as always. And it's really important. I mean, I can open it up. I can see what day it is. I'm not quite as confused because the weekends blur in with the week now that we don't always go and take care of the dogs. Unless they have essential work, we don't go and take care of the nephew dogs. And the holidays blend in with every other day because we don't go anywhere. We don't go to barbecues and anything like that. But it's still, my bullet journal is functioning the same. In fact, I've got just a few pages and I'm ready to move into a new one. So that's exciting. I've even got the sticker picked out for it. So I'm going to move into this bright blue one with the sticker, with the cat sticker that my pen friend Annie sent. It's going to go so nicely. There's actually two of the stickers. And I think the one with where the cat eyes are the roses is the one that I'm going to pick. The other one is underneath. And it's pretty too. It's just a little more spooky, maybe a little more scary. But I like the one with the roses. So that, I'll be moving into that one next. With just a few pages left, it's quite, it surprises me. I started this one, I think, in August of last year, and I didn't get a year out of it, but that's good. That means I'm utilizing the book really well, and I'm going right through it. So I do a weekly spread, and I do to-dos in it, and I same thing. I really haven't changed too much in here. And so that gives me a stable place to turn to. Like, my bullet journal is normal. There's nothing really different. And then, so that's the first one that I'm in every day. There's really, that gives me a sense of normalcy. And then the other book is, it's a little Dingbats book that came in a ink flight. And it's got really pretty paper in it, and it has surprised me. It's held up super well to the fountain pen inks. And I was going to look, I have this little paper that came in it. The little tag that was on it is here, and I think it says 100 GSM paper, but that doesn't always mean that it's going to be good. Yeah, 100 grams per square meter coated cream paper. Maybe it's the coating part, but it's been super good. I can usually use anything that I have inked up. And I do keep a non-fountain pen attached to it because that's just for quick, so that no matter what, I always have a pen there if I want to make notes in a hurry. But my pens are all in my Knox and Clear. So I don't like to have any of my fountain pens attached to the books, except for just one will be attached to the outside of the Lockbee field journal cover for my bullet journal, because that's a dedicated one. It always has gray ink. But other than that, I get to having to walk around the house gathering up pens if I attach too many to notebooks. So they're all in here, the ones that I'm writing with right now that you saw on my video about Chris's inked pens. And then I've got maybe one or I've got at least one from last month that I'm still using. So, okay. So this notebook, this has really surprised me. Apparently a pandemic calls for one of these Commonplace notebooks, because I have been really happy with the size and with being able to have it right next to me when I watch videos. I've been trying to educate myself on medical things, on you know, even things like growing your own vegetables and what to have for an emergency pantry. And I thought I knew all that stuff, but I've been learning quite a bit. And I've also been having pages dedicated to documenting like where I'm finding certain things consistently, so that I could kind of keep that straight in my mind. And I had to do an index at the back of this one because I didn't remember to put one in the front. So I put the index, I just, it's no big deal. There was plenty of room. And I have been numbering the pages, even though this one didn't come with numbered pages. That it's just as easy to do that yourself. Just little by little, down in the corner of it, I just put the numbers myself, and that's been good. But like that page there was just natural grocers and some of the things I was finding. I hadn't been in there at all. And then I had to go in for my Himalayan pink salt. I really wanted that. And I wanted my special shampoo, and there was 2 cars in the parking lot. So I said, okay, I'm going to go in there and get some of the essentials and see what it is that they have right now. You know, I know that changes quite often, but still it helped. It was very helpful. So I jotted some things down. And they had Kleenex in there, which I hadn't been able to find very consistently anywhere. So that's very good. Okay, so I've got all kinds of notes. I was listing pantry items because we're used to keeping a hurricane shelf, you know, and plenty of hurricane supplies, but we're really only concentrating on 2 weeks maybe. Really, you only need about 4 or 5 days, but just to be sure that trucks are running again and that the city's reopened after a storm, you want to definitely have plenty of water and plenty of canned things or things you can eat real easily. So I felt the need to brush up on all of that. And in doing so, I ran across a YouTube channel that I just love called, I think it's called the Modern Survival TMS. Fernando is his name, and I'll link him down below. But I really like some of his ideas. He lived through the economic collapse in Venezuela, and he has a lot to say about being prepared and food items and what flies off the shelf. And so I thought I was watching a current video, and it was like a video from 3 years ago, and I realized, wow, it's pretty consistent what things people really go right for when there's any kind of crisis or food shortages or need to stay home. So I just realized he's like an expert in that. So I've been taking all kinds of notes, and I have always really loved having the Commonplace book for all kinds of different subjects, but it's so interesting to look back on the old ones and see what I was studying. So I'm really going to flip out in years from now when I start reading all this, like, oh, survivalist stuff, you know. Okay, pantries, you know, I jotted down some things like sugar, flour, oil, milk, and you know, I don't even cook with sugar and flour right now very often. Sometimes I do. I made some of my cereal bars recently. But anyway, those are the 2 journals. Oh my goodness, I swore this wasn't going to be too long, and I'm doing it already. Those are the 2 journals that I'm really writing in a lot. And I started a new one today, but it's not really new. I already had another subject in this one. This is one of the, it's called Stiff Flexible. It's not very fountain pen friendly, but I wanted something I could write with, no, don't faint or anything, but with a ballpoint pen, because I wanted to do some speed writing, some brain dumping. And I actually, a friend last night sent to me that someone was having, her name is Lori Wagner, and I'll link her down below too, offering a 27-day writing, not really a writing challenge, but little prompts where she sends a video and tells you a little bit about what she's writing and gives you a prompt. And it's connected with the pandemic. It's connected with, you know, documenting and getting down your thoughts. And she called it, well, I think she's done it before. It doesn't always come out to be to do with this subject, 27 Wildest Days. And she's done this wild writing, or brain dumping, I call it, before. So it's really neat, because this morning I got the second video in my email and watched it, and then that was my first activity of the day, was writing, and I wrote 5 pages like butter, like it just slipped out of me, like I had so much to say, and some of it's weird, and I wouldn't want anybody to read it right now, but I went through and I highlighted some things after it, and it was so interesting just to do the highlights. So I'll just read you some of the things that I highlighted with a mild liner. I highlighted empty shelves, lost in a store I've shopped in 30 years, shame, rush, hurry up, nightly news, toilet paper, paper towels, each egg is 50 cents, noise, birds, talking, coffee filters. Oh, you don't want to know what that was about. Limited products, restrictive, gas dropped, sewing masks, freezers are sold out, sun. So, you know, like, if each one of those was just a fragment of what I wrote, there was a lot going on in my mind, and I'm glad to get that out of there, because to have that creative energy and that ability to work on projects, I think we really need to declutter the mind, and apparently mine was extremely cluttered. So needless to say, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, when the third video will come in my email, so that's going to be great. And if anybody who's interested, I'll go ahead and link that. One of the other things I wanted to mention was I already have a favorite pen and ink for this month, and it's Blackstone Berry or Violet. It's you know, it doesn't look totally permanent when you see that, but it is a permanent ink. I remember that it survived the water test extremely well. I have a full review on that, and most likely, you know, it moves around because of the fact that I do those tests pretty rapidly after I put it on the page, and that's why a full water test for 20 minutes is always real valuable. But the pen is the beautiful Moonman M600S with a broad Yowo nib on it. That's just been the go-to pen and ink. It's smooth as butter, and it looks so nice, and as a lead ink for a letter, I know it's not going to ruin if somebody happens to get mail, you know, if the mail gets rain splattered on it or something like that. So I'm not going to really talk about my other journals right now, because I'm not writing in them as much as I was, and so that's for another day, I think. I just want to move on now to the other aspects. And one of my main writing aspects is pen pal letters, and that's going really well, really steady. I have noticed that with some of my pen pals, we're doing more emailing, but we're still writing, except for my pen pal from Poland. They've cut off that mail service. At least it was last she knew, because her letter got returned. And we did email back and forth, so that was good. And I'm thinking, when I get a chance to write to her and scan the letter, that'll be nice, because that's always an option, which I've done with one of my pen friends in the UK, where I was so far behind writing, and I really wanted the option for him to read the letter sooner, and it's on its way, or maybe already arrived by now. I think it has arrived. Yes, it did, because I got an email that I remember now. And then a pen pal in New Zealand, I did the same thing. I was really far behind because of my elbow and my tennis, you know, the tennis elbow and the pain there, and then came all the disruption and the emergency of trying to prepare for the worst here and everything. So right now I have three pen pal letters to answer, and one non-fountain pen person friend to answer her letter. So I mean, I don't know why I didn't just say 4. I got 4 letters to write right now. Every day when the mail comes, that changes. So usually today I didn't get any new ones come in, so it kind of stayed. And I've got 2 to go out right now, and I expect to write another one tonight. And that's, you know, that's always like so nice to have that project to work on, you know, off and on. So email is something that most of the people that I keep in contact are not all that interested in, but right now it has been really enhancing to kind of email back and forth with people, not every day, but you know, as we think of things, whether it's something funny or just, hey, we're okay, are you okay? You know, it's very comforting. Actually, it's very very nice. You don't want too long to go by and you begin to kind of let the imagination get in control. So it's been very nice. And then I talked about note-taking. Actually, not all of my note-taking, but most of it's going right into this book, because I don't care how messy it is, I won't lose this. And I have another empty one, not exactly like it, but another one that I can use as a Commonplace book should I fill this up. And I probably will during the course of this interesting time that we're living through. So, and I'm glad that there was room in the back for the index, so that's going to be good. So that's note-taking. Let's see. Wow. Sometimes I just run right out of thought there. I would have thought that my decision journal, which was like, it just seemed like it was so important, and it still is. I know it is. In fact, I looked in here and right before doing the video thinking, gee, isn't there something to say about it? Well, the thing to say about it is we were trying to make decisions before they put down the actual restrictions. So I was journaling about, you know, how often we were going to shop and how we were going to change our behaviors even before our city put down the official order, and it became, you know, I'm going to say a law, but it became a policy because we really wanted to think about that and intentionally decide. And so I had said, we will stay at home except for vital medicine trips and use H-E-B drive-through pickup and shop every 2 weeks at off-peak times. Well, it turns out there's no such thing as an off-peak time right now. You can tell by the cars in the in the parking lots, but just have had to forget everything that we thought we knew about when the best time to go shopping is to get essential things, because it's just completely, you know, the whole world is on staycation. That's a terrible word for it, but either that or working from home, giving everybody the same flexibility as retirees and, you know, so forth. Not everybody, but everybody who's not working in one of those essential jobs. So it's, the decision journal has kind of stayed there, and I haven't been writing in it, which did surprise me, but I know I'll get back to it. It's just that it has felt until maybe a few days ago like we were under emergency conditions and everything was just so different that I haven't felt like writing in that one. So wow, again, completely out of steam. So I would say that the stay-home orders and the change in how we're having to do things has definitely affected my writing. It's made me want to write more, and I have been filling up this journal, but I'm sporadic in this one. This is the cafe note. It's darn near full. There's very few pages left. It's too small. I've determined that this size is not quite right for me. I'm having to use like 6 pages at a time of this, you know, so I'd prefer a larger size, which, good thing I have all kinds of to choose from, not Tomoe River paper, but other kind of notebooks that I can use. And I can just pick up some of the, like Lexington Gray, and some of the inks that will really write good on the CVS caliber paper would probably be a really good choice. That way I have larger pages and I can just go for it and write in there. But for the next 26 days, I'm going to be working with those prompts from Lori, and I'm really excited about that. So I wonder how this has affected your writing. I recognize that I'm in this weird kind of a retired lifestyle, and so it's not the same. I'm not staying home, trying to work from home and take care of kids or any such thing as that. Those years are all behind us now. And so it's different. But I'm surprised that it even affected my journaling, but it certainly did. It definitely makes me do more studying, more trying to learn more. And I think it's Greg Braden, and then there's several others that I've been watching because they have the science angle kind of covered from a perspective that I like, and I've been taking notes. Yeah, Greg B. He did a really good, he's done more than one really good videos that have helped me. And then I recorded down phone numbers like for the building supply place, because I went and got like 6 air conditioning filters so that I didn't have to keep doing that, you know. I mean, we're used to just going and buying one thing or 2 things and then going again the next month, or you know, we never let things just completely run out. But I wasn't buying 6 months at a time before. So let's see, who else have I been? I've been watching all kinds of things, and I try not to overload myself, but I think that any learning seems to reduce my anxiety. It seems to empower me and make me feel better. So I think that's just about it. I'm kind of running out of steam here. Emergency food. Oh, here's a list. I don't even know where I got this from, because at that time I forgot to write down the source. I wrote salt, sugar, honey, beans, flour, pasta, tuna, canned meats, canned vegetables, peanut butter. I can't live without peanut butter. And that's because I don't eat peanut butter every day, but if I don't have peanut butter in the house, I don't feel quite right. And coffee, that's urgent. Tea, ramen, powdered milk. I wrote down powdered milk because I couldn't find any. But part of the reason why I'm still sounding, you know, a little bit urgent about food items is because we really don't go very often, because we're trying to minimize Manuel's trips into the store, and he likes to go in. He doesn't like to just send me in. So we've got our masks, we wear them and we go, but we don't go that often. So whatever we find that day is what we find. So how are you guys doing? Are you writing more or less in your journals and your books? Are you enjoying your pens? I'd like to hear about it. And of course, I have been hearing from several of you in letters and emails, but it's always fun to connect in the comments, or any way that you want to connect. It's always really a lot of fun. So I like that idea that came from a viewer, that you could write out your letter and then scan it and email it to the person and then send the letter anyway, but just wait and see what happens, hoping that it gets there. But in some cases, the mail is slowed down quite a bit. In other cases, gosh, I got one Easter card. I got it like within, I think, 7 days of when the person mailed it from the UK, and I think that surprised us both. Like, wow, she didn't know if I'd ever get it, and I got it really quickly. So we never know, really. We just never know. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're finding ways to have joy, and I'm avoiding the news. The longer I talk to you, the news is on and I'm not seeing it. I don't mind the local news at noon because I get the weather, just a little bit about what's happening locally, and it hasn't been as traumatic as the national news has been. The national news is probably a health hazard at this point, even though we do need to be informed. I'm finding it harder to watch even more than 10 minutes of that. So, okay, I'm going to end this video because it's not fair for me to just be avoiding the news through this, through talking your ear off, basically. I'll have to watch this because I'm really not sure if it's going to see the light of day. It seems as though I had all these ideas in my mind, made very few notes, and that's what you get. If you think, gee, I know there was something else I was going to say, but will I be able to talk long enough to remember? It's been a really good day, and the project that I'm doing, that I'm helping the pen friend who's making a beautiful website that involves my ink tiles is coming along really, really well. In fact, I'm going to only be down to stragglers now, and I've provided almost all of them to him. So that look forward to that. That's going to be neat when we can talk about that and make it a public thing, and it won't probably be too long. So I hope you're having a good day and a good week, and you know, my prayers and positive thoughts are with everybody. So hang in there and do a lot of writing. Bye for now.